I don't think that we realize as a society, like how flawed our food supply is. And I will say, honestly, and I think my nursing background, it made me more skeptical of this whole thing. And I saw with my own eyes so many crazy things that I knew medically because the medical community is very pharmaceutically trained that just don't normally happen. And so when I saw the people that I personally knew, all these things were improving in their lives, I was like, maybe we're doing it wrong. Our whole medical community is kind of doing it wrong. And so quit being skeptical, and I finally embraced it. It was a very quick journey to success after that because I had finally found something that really helps change people's lives. And it was, it really does. So.
Welcome to the Perfect 100, the podcast for BNI members who want to maximize their membership, deepen their impact, and grow their business through intentional networking. I'm your host, Tammy Zurak, a CliftonStrengths coach, longtime BNI leader, and one of the few members worldwide to maintain a perfect Power of One score. Each week, we'll explore the habits, mindsets, and everyday strategies of BNI members who are turning their membership into momentum. Hello, and welcome back to the Perfect 100. I am your host, Tammy Zurak, and I get to sit down today with not just an incredible businesswoman, but also a dear friend, Tiffany Klemis. Tiffany's journey is one of my favorites. She went from saving lives in intensive care and interventional radiology to helping people transform their health as a clean eating coach and as an Arbonne consultant. What started as a better way to have a good lifestyle for her family has become a mission to help others thrive. We both met. I met her through BNI. Didn't take long before I realized she had a lot of talent up her sleeve. She's not just a health coach and a leader, but she encourages everyone in all the things that she does. We've worked together. We've played mahjong a whole bunch of times, and we've even gone grocery shopping so I could learn some new things. So today's conversation is going to be part friendship, part inspiration, and all about purpose, growth, and taking care of the life that you're building. Tiffany, I'm so excited to have you here. Welcome.
I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. All right. Well, I kind of gave a little snippet of what you do, but let's go ahead and have you give everybody your 45 seconds.
Okay. My name is Tiffany Klemis, and I hold the Health and Wellness Chair in our East Memphis chapter. And we have a clean eating program that helps people that are super busy identify like how the food supply is really affecting their body. It's a life skill. We do that through an elimination diet with intermittent fasting. We help support the elimination organs to get all the junk out. And it helps people identify like what could be sabotaging their gut, their energy, their weight, their sleep. There's so many problems it can cause. So we use our incredible products to help through the learning process. And we have ingredient standards that are even higher than Europe, and it helps save people money. So just do it. Tiffany with Arbonne.
Awesome. So you started your career in the most high stress environment I can think of in an ER, ICU, or not, I'm sorry, not ER, but ICU and interventional radiology. First of all, what is interventional radiology? Because I don't know.
It's a procedural area where we do like procedures like put in catheters, and basically we work through people's vessels to do all sorts of stuff, whether it's do biopsies, all sorts of things. But it's intense one-on-one patient, and we do conscious sedation. So I help put people to sleep while they have their procedures, and I loved it. So yeah.
That made me laugh because I just remember having my last colonoscopy, and the lady that was putting me out for that, we had an interesting conversation
I
around.
bet. There are lots of
There was a whole,
interesting conversations that
yeah,
happen
well,
for
for
that.
that procedure for sure, but then there was
Yeah.
like a whole Michael Jackson conversation, and all of that kind of came out of that. But yeah, so what was that world like for you, and what did you love most about helping people in that setting?
I think I actually had a bad experience when I got my wisdom teeth out, and, the nurses were not paying attention to me, and it was a little bit traumatic. So I think when I came out of intensive care, which I absolutely loved too, but it was pretty high stress, and I was able to do, like, intense one-on-one patient interaction during a very sensitive time. Like, it was really cool because I had the challenge of, like, using the science to kinda ride that line of being awake and not, and, just help them through a challenging time. I really, really loved it. So,
Awesome. Um, was there a patient that had, even after all this time, that still stands out to you? And what was, why did that make a mark?
I wouldn't say any specific patient, but I fell in love with finding out about people. This is probably what has gone into some of my skills and some of my stuff that we'll probably talk about later today. Is like the more I would ask people about themselves, the more I would figure out like how just fascinating people are. And I just loved it.
Yeah, that's it's interesting. The more of these that I do, you start to see, I think all of us recognize we have certain strengths in certain areas, but we develop them over time in different ways.
Mhm.
So you kind of work all different facets as you're from a little kid on up, you're kind of delving into things with your strengths and putting them on, testing them out and seeing how they go. And I feel like we all end up somewhere in our later lives using those things to the our best benefit, I guess, is the best way to put that. um that's a very demanding environment. What made you decide it was time for a change?
I think pretty early in my career. So initially, I was planning to go to nursing anesthesia school. So that's why I went directly into the ICU. And I had my daughter, and, that wasn't in my plan that early in my life, but, had just graduated nursing school, had my daughter, and we didn't have any graduate programs in Oklahoma. So the idea of having to go out of state was a little bit, I was willing to do it, but it was not optimal, I think, as a new mom. And so when Arbonne kind of fell into my lap, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, like I can have the same sort of lifestyle and have to work far fewer hours and not have the stress and be responsible for somebody's lives and be able to will it to my kids. Like, I think I want to do this. And my whole family thought that I had lost my mind. So
I bet. It's funny how everyone around us, I've worked with a lot of photographers, in my previous, positions in life as a coach. And that's always something that people tell people, don't go into it because you're not going to make any money. And I imagine going from being an ICU nurse to being in Arbonne, what people perceive to be, oh, you're going to be an Arbonne
yes.
rep, is probably a big
Yeah.
pill to swallow. Um,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
So for you, Arbonne wasn't just about the products. You decided to kind of turn that into a mission to help people be healthier. So, what does being a clean eating coach really mean to you?
It well, I don't think that we realize as a society, like, how flawed our food supply is, and I will say, honestly, and I think my nursing background, it made me more skeptical of this whole thing. And so when I first started Arbonne, we didn't have this clean eating program. And we had skincare, and it was phenomenal skincare, but it didn't change anybody's life. And so when this came out, I didn't do it for a year and a half, and I just watched people. I had a ton of people around me that were doing it, and I saw some of the most incredible things happen in people's health. And we can't make health claims, but like I saw with my own eyes so many crazy things that I knew medically, because the medical community is very pharmaceutically trained, that just don't normally happen. And so when I saw these people that I personally knew, all these things were improving in their lives, I was like, huh, maybe we're doing it wrong. our whole medical community is kind of doing it wrong. And so I think that once I finally embraced it, once I quit being skeptical and I finally embraced it, it was a very quick journey to success after that because I had finally found something that really helps change people's lives. And it was, it does, it really does. So
Yeah. Well, and I'm a believer, we'll talk more about that, but you've walked people, lots and lots of people through detox, food detox, including me. What's the one thing that people are always most surprised to learn when they clean up their diet? Maybe something that shocks them when they feel the difference?
I think how much energy they have and how much consistent energy throughout the day. Cause, when your blood sugar is all over the place, your energy levels are all over the place as well. And so I feel like so many people just feel so good. And I've had people say by the end of the first week, they're like, I haven't felt this good like in years or ever. And it's just that those kinds of stories, like I know that's what keeps me here. That's what keeps me telling people about this. And, it's because I know it can be a complete game changer for someone and change people's life in the middle of their life. I don't have to wait until a procedure or the end of their life. I can help them now.
Yeah. Yeah, the small changes that we make now can make a big difference later. I've been on my own health journey. I've had some joint challenges over the years, and that not just normal sort of arthritis things. I've had additional things, and so I've been on a long journey to figure out kind of what are the things that I can do to help myself set myself up for success, I guess is the best way versus adding things in. And you come from traditional medicine where, they like to throw pills at things.
Yes.
I went to a rheumatologist who very much, it was interesting. He was very, this is kind of the traditional path of things. We take these pills that can hurt your liver, take these other things that can hurt your immune system. But I was like, is there anything I could do that's healthier?
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm not trained in that, but I support it,
Yeah.
and so I would do things that were outside of medicine to try to set myself up for success. And amazingly, things when you start to change what you put inside your body, food wise, that, anything you consume can really make a huge difference. So we'll talk more about that, but I want to pivot for a moment first because we always talk about the since we're in BNI. We
Yeah.
all and we're gonna weave this into our conversation today. We always talk about the power of one, and this is the perfect 100. So I do like to share with people kind of where my guests are at. So let me kind of start with where you are at. So you have a score of 70 in the green. You have 15 points for attendance. That's yellow. You have 20 points for referrals per week. You have 10 points for visitors, which is red. And one-to-ones, you have 15 points in the yellow, and CEUs, I have to move my screen over. You have 10 in the red. And then I've got your PALMS report also, so we'll talk through all of this real quick. So you have no absences. You have 4 subs. You referrals given inside, you have 8. Referrals given outside, you have 22. Referrals received inside, you have 9. Referrals received outside, you have 11. Visitors, you have 4. One-to-ones, you have 23. Thank you for closed business given. You have 30,107 and 14 CEUs, and that is a total of 22 weeks. So, what do you think about all of that?
This is the lowest my score has been since we started our new chapter. So, but that's okay. I feel like I really, and I'm sure we'll talk about that we built this East Memphis chapter, but I really dove into all that hardcore for a while. So I
Yes.
think it all kind of caught up with me. And now that I'm starting to back off on like actual BNI things, I'm going to redirect and get back into my personal chapter activity.
Yes. Well, and when Tiffany says back off on BNI, I think she means she was a launch coach for quite a while. And the chapter that she and I are both in together was the first one that she's, brought to fruition. So we definitely will talk about that. And, being 70 is green, so you're good. That's obviously, I know you want to achieve more. So,
Yeah.
but green is the area we all like to be. So that ebbs and flows, and if the ebb or the flow, I don't know which it is, the bottom 70, I think you're good. So your journey with that, I think, tells a story of consistency. I think that's the hardest part of what we do, right? Is trying to maintain all the things while juggling all the balls in the air outside of, you were helping inside BNI as a launch coach, but you're also running your business, you have a family. So, how do you keep all those balls in the air?
Well, I had to evaluate which balls were most important and maybe put a
Right.
couple balls down.
Yeah.
So, I was the VP of our chapter. I was a launch coach. I was doing all the things, and I did step away from doing launching, which is good. I helped launch 4 different chapters, so it was fun. Well, and it really helped me know a lot of people in the area. That's why probably I have so many outside referrals that were on my report, because I know people all around town that do all sorts of things. But I think that is helping. That will help my consistency come back in my numbers.
Well, and you made a great point there is, I'm a chapter success coach, you were a chapter launch coach, and both of those things you get to know people. I was
Yeah.
just looking at, we have a meeting every week for the coaches, and I was looking at my list of people, and I was thinking back to, I was previously managing director for a little while, and I'd look at a spreadsheet of names, and I literally was thinking this morning, like, those were just names. I didn't know, the coaches knew who
Yeah.
they were because they see them all the time. But from afar, I didn't know everyone. And that's one of the things I didn't enjoy about that was I actually did the whole reason I took it and the reason I stepped away from it was I wasn't getting to know the people I really wanted to have my arms around. But if you're listening to this and you're a BNI member, a great way to build your network, not just sort of at a surface level, but at a little deeper level, is to be a coach, to be either a success coach, and they've changed it back to director consultant. But director consultant or launch coach is a great way to get to know more people and have them in your network and them know you, even more importantly,
Right.
right?
Right. Right.
So let's pivot back to nursing a little bit. So you help people survive, but now you help them thrive. How has your definition of helping people changed or evolved since doing, what you do now versus what you were doing?
I think I can help them early in their life. I remember there was one couple in Oklahoma, 'cause that's where I came from, was Oklahoma. But there was a couple that they had young kids, and both of them went through it. And the husband, like, had so much energy at the end of the day. He was able to, like, interact with his children. And I think, and his wife was so, like, she's like, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Like, this has really changed our family." So things like that. We had, I had a group of a whole family up north that went through this, because we can do this from anywhere. It's like, you don't have to be close here in Memphis. But there was a family up north, and the whole family went through it. And as a collective family, they had lost over 700 pounds.
Oh my God.
So, like, just the difference that it can make, like, in people's lives if they embrace it. Now, some people don't necessarily embrace it. They just go through, how they do one thing, how they do everything. Some people do it, some people don't. So, but just to the satisfaction that gives, because how else would I be able to affect people like that?
Join the Art Academy in Memphis. Master the skills needed to create stunning, realistic oil paintings. With expert instruction, you'll refine your craft. Enroll today at artacademyofmemphis.com. Right.
You know?
Yeah. Well, and I've been through it, and I think that when you through it is the cleanse, the detox, the 30 days. You kind of eat you have a pre-selected group of things that you have supplements and then you have foods that you're supposed to eat, or not supposed to eat, as the case may
Right.
be.
Mhm.
And in fact, you took me shopping. I like to think I had a pretty good grip on things, and my husband, I would say, is probably felt even stronger about that because he's pretty into fitness and nutrition and all of that. And Tiffany took us shopping to what's that
Sprouts.
place? Sprouts, yes, I couldn't think of the name of
Mhm.
it, and, I learned new things, and he learned new things, and one of the things was the Dirty Dozen. I hadn't heard of the Dirty Dozen, so in you can Google that or reach out to Tiffany, and she'll talk to you about it later. But, what are 1 or 2 food ingredients that you wish everybody understood so they would feel better?
I feel like apples, like the importance of buying organic apples and berries. Like, here's the thing is if a bug loves it, it's going to have a lot of pesticide on it. So, and just the things that they're doing to, um, I mean, those are easy things. Always, always, always eat those things organic apples because it's not just on the outside of the apple, it gets in the meat of the apple. And then they're doing all these crazy wax things and they're just doing all sorts of crazy stuff. And that is just a teeny tiny sector of the whole food supply. It's happening in meat, it's happening with the way that they're growing wheat, soy, corn, all these crazy things are going on. And it's just when you don't know, you don't know. So when you educate yourself, like I said, it's really a life skill that you take forward, not just for you, but for your family and how your family is going to go into the future too. So I don't know
Yes,
if that answered your question.
yeah, close enough. Yeah, I think you got there. The people, I don't feel like the average person recognizes how much n- the bad things they're putting in their body, right? Is if you're supposed to shop around the outside edge of the store, but even I was doing that and that wasn't, organic. You need to eat. You don't have to buy everything organic, and when you
No.
talk to Tiffany, she'll walk you through what you can and can't or should or shouldn't, and you don't have to even, you can a good step is just shopping around the outside of the grocery store, not in the processed food stuff,
Mhm.
but, there are things that I wasn't choosing organic that I do now, because I don't want all that junk in my body.
Right. That's right.
So you're a mom, you're married to a doctor with a crazy schedule, you're a
Mhm.
successful business owner. What does a healthy day look like for you, whether that's food, mindset, balance?
The good news is that my business, full-time business, usually takes about 10 to 15 hours a week, maybe 20 hours a week. So I'm really able to focus on my own health. Working out in the mornings is one of my favorite things to do, and taking care of just my spiritual health, and then being able to have the time to build relationships during the day, whether it's through BNI one-to-ones or, meeting with different people. And then there's healthy restaurants around town that, I like to go with people too. And we just, my husband and I try to lead an active lifestyle and we kind of hold each other accountable to that. And we love it.
Yeah. It's so much easier when you have a partner that supports all of those things, right? I was talking to the lady who does my hair the other day, and that was she's actually diabetic, and she's newly married, and she's slowly trying to build her partner to a healthier lifestyle.
Yeah.
And that's a challenge. And I was thinking again to myself, like, I'm so happy that my husband's like, if I say I want to come home, I come home one day and I'm like, we're going to do a 30-day cleanse where we're not gonna eat all this crap.
Like,
He's
okay.
like, "Okay, whatever, sign me up."
Yeah.
So, but even if your partner, family, whatever is not supportive, when you look yourself in the mirror, that's the only person you're accountable to is, what goes in your mouth, and how you feel about it is, that's you only have to make yourself happy. And then I think people like what Tiffany said earlier is you see the benefits that or other people see the benefits you're having, and then they want that too.
It's
So, but
motivating. Yes.
yeah, for sure.
Because I feel like, honestly, like our whole society is looking for this. They all want to feel better. They all want to feel good in their clothes. They want to be able to have energy to exercise, energy to live. So They just are not sure where to find it. And there's so much misinformation out there that everyone's confused. So a lot of people just do nothing, or they'll try one thing and it's exhausting, or they'll, try something and it's just not sustainable. So that's why it's another reason, like, we don't have like magic products that people need to use forever. You can use them because they're delicious and they're convenient, but that's not how this is set up. It's different. So
Yeah, you need to learn to eat, what is sustainable for you. And I would be remiss if we didn't talk about sugar, just because that's such a part of the health of our, or lack thereof, of our community, in general, just people in general. Um, when you see people give up sugar, because that's part of what you do in a cleanse, and based on your medical background, what's actually happening to our bodies when we cut that out?
I think that, because truthfully, you don't have to give up sugar necessarily, but you do have to have the right sugars when you go through this. And a lot of that is based on your glycemic index. So as a society, we eat way too much sugar as a society. So a lot of our pancreases overproduce insulin. So what happens is people will eat something, whether it's a high carb breakfast, a bagel, cereal, oatmeal, whatever, and then they'll have a big blood sugar spike. They'll have a ton of insulin that gets put out by their pancreas. And then actually you're having just a few hours later, or, a little while later, you're having symptoms of low blood sugar because your blood sugar is actually low because you have too much insulin. So people are just all over the place, after breakfast, after lunch, they're feeling tired. They feel like they need a snack or some caffeine. That's all part of this equation. So when you're eating things that are slower burning sugars, you're just not on the roller coaster all day. And that helps people have more consistent energy, and it just it just makes sense, and it makes people feel better.
Yeah. Well, and just because I watch a ton of podcasts about this kind of stuff, the dopamine also is you're priming your brain for dopamine hits. It's like literally it's the same as, let's just go do some cocaine.
Cocaine, yeah.
Uh, yeah, I mean, it's like this constant. And if you're listening, you weren't seeing Tiffany do a rolling motion, like hills up and down with her hand, when she was talking about what your blood sugar does. And your brain is doing the same thing. You're poisoning your brain with dopamine, where you're constantly getting dopamine hits every time you eat, but then it falls off. So then you get dysregulated, and it's a whole thing, which we're not going to go into today. But if you start to look at just one thing, if you start to change one thing in your diet, it starts to have a domino effect on other things. So try one healthy thing and then move on to the next thing. And Tiffany's definitely somebody that can help you with that. So I want to kind of shift gears again, and I want to show your Clifton strengths, because, we're going to talk some more about all the good things about your strengths. So I'm going to go through your top 5. Tiffany's done a coaching session with me. So she's actually done her full 34. But I'm going to walk you through her top 5, because that's what we do here. So your number 1 is individualization. You are intrigued with the unique qualities of each person. You have a gift for figuring out how different people can work together productively. Number 2 is a ranger. You are both organized and flexible. You enjoy figuring out how to align people and resources to get the best results. Your number 3 is ideation. You're fascinated by ideas. You see connections that others don't, and can view the world from different perspectives. Number 4 is activator. You can make things happen by turning thoughts into action. You want to do things now rather than simply talk about them. And number 5 is positivity. You have contagious enthusiasm. You are naturally upbeat and can energize others. I also want to show your full 34. I'm just going to give people the rest of the top 10, because those are the important things. So your number 6 is empathy. Your number 7 is connectedness. Your number 8 is belief. Your number 9 is self-assurance. And number 10 is communication. So your top blend of things, empathy, ideation, and belief are kind of the perfect mix of things to do what you do.
Mhm.
What stood out to you the most when you saw all of your results initially?
I think it makes sense because I've noticed my brain is always looking for the best way to do things, like, constantly, whether it's, just fixing something around the house or the most efficient way that makes most sense, the smartest way to do stuff. And so that includes knowing people. And if you're working with people, you have to know what they're good at, and you have to pay attention to, what they're, good at and what they're not good at, so that everything can work together the best possible way. And that's how my brain works. I was like, oh, yeah, this
Yeah,
this
that's
is
me.
how it happens. Yeah.
Yeah, and for, Tiffany as a launch coach was my first blush with her, was actually I saw her give her, she had her feature presentation, and when I was still the managing director, I had never met her and showed up, and I was so impressed with her presentation, went up and talked to her after, and, come to find later that she has so many amazing talents that were perfect for a launch coach. In fact, in the two of us together, our strengths are really a great complement. My strategic and my maximizer pair really well with your individualization and arranger. And we were in the same chapter. How do you see those playing out together as we both help lead the chapter?
Well, I think that you bring new perspective that I don't think about a lot of times, so that's really great. And I feel like I'm constantly thinking who would be best in what role, and who's gonna, really kill it and do this so well. And, which is really great to have people that really care about our chapter. I think we did a good job of building a chapter that people really care about doing this well. And so finding new leaders, because we kind of carried the load for a little bit, in the beginning, and finding new leaders that really have wanted to take the baton and move forward to do things well in a group that runs well. So I feel like both of us have worked in different ways to do
Yes.
that, spearhead
Yeah,
it.
we come at it from similar and different views, which is
Nice.
great because, Tiffany's like I don't know what the right word is, like a magician. She can just pulls people together and sets them into where, what they're supposed to be doing and how they're supposed to, she that's the beauty of having strengths in those, the individualization and arranger together, you're very you don't think about it. You're just like, "Yep, that one, that one, that one." And
Mhm.
when I came to Tiffany with, "Hey, I have assessments for a lot of the folks," and she's like, "Let me see them. Let me see them." It's just more information she already intuitively knows, but, I can give it a name. And, together, as we came into the new term, we were kind of like, okay, we got the whole chapter together and we're kind of giving everybody the opportunity to see the differences and the similarities so that we could decide, okay, well, I'm really good at this, so I should do this, and you're really good at that, so you should do that role. And it's
Mhm.
amazing when you put people in their strengths, how productive it is. It's
Right.
kind of what I do as a coach.
It
Um,
also it also helps too when we were trying to figure out how to, like, motivate different parts of our chapters to do things. We would look at their strength and what motivated them, and so we would play off that and see, how, like, we got a lot done that
yeah,
seemed like it wasn't getting done before. So it was great.
yeah, yeah. And I have my own view on this, but I want yours. What do you think? Since we started it from scratch and we kind of put it together, the way we wanted, why do you think kind of handpicking and all of that made a difference? And how has it helped with the sustaining of that growth? Because you said, we kept it, we've now handed it to others to do, and it's still going well. So what's your opinion on that?
Well, I think because hopefully the right people are in the right positions to do what they naturally do, instead of being in positions that they are not naturally inclined to do, or that they're not interested in doing. And I think that that really helps. And some of the growth stuff that we did, that you led, actually was really letting people choose what they want to do too. Because, BNI is a volunteer organization. Nobody has to be here. Nobody has to show up. Nobody has to, I mean, if they want more business, they need to. But, all of those things, people have to do kind of what they want to do, that's when they're going to do well. So I think that all those things have really helped.
Yeah, I love that. I think that we forget sometimes we just throw people, oh, somebody's got to do this role, so you're it. Or nobody steps up because they don't even understand how it fits and how if they have everybody has their own set of strengths. So if only you knew what those were and you could offer up in a good role that fit those things, you would be happy and so would everybody else. And recently we've suffered some challenges. We've had 5 people change jobs or move away or, health issues that literally have, kind of pulled a little wind out of our sails. How do you stay positive and motivated when growth feels uncertain?
I feel like that's just part of the gig,
Yeah.
like there are going to be people that come and go, and that's why I think constantly building, at some level, making relationships, figuring out who we need, who we can help really well. I mean, there's some positions that we refer to in other chapters on a regular basis. And man, if we got the right person in our chapter, we could really help build their business. So just taking the time to keep that on the radar and thinking and being a little bit purposeful of, oh, we actually need an HVAC person in our chapter. Our meeting time might be a little hard for a lot of tradespeople, but you know, if we can find the right one and just being a little bit thoughtful about all that is, that's the motivating part to me and the people that have to leave. I mean, we can't control that. So
Right. Yeah. So we have to always be looking, right? As
yeah.
the key there. And it's not just us two or three or four, it's everybody. I think we make it a priority that we post it, talk about it. It's something that's always at the forefront that we have to be constantly looking for these people. We have a realtor change upcoming. Our realtor took a promotion to do something else. So no longer in our chapter. We're interviewing 5 realtors back to back this afternoon to
Today.
find the right one that's going to be a fit. And it feels so strange because it's literally a job interview, but it's for,
Mhm.
like you said, it's a volunteer organization, but they all want in. Everybody
Yep.
wants to be a part of something that is successful. And they when they come and visit and they see the energy in the room is the thing I hear the most about all our visitors. Are like, wow, it's like this is crazy, this is like amazing. Everybody wants to be a part of it. So it's an interesting thing that you build it and to try to keep it going. And speaking of keeping it going, what's something, or you are someone who leads through encouragement and example. What have you learned about helping people change, whether it's their health or their habits, without judgment?
Staying ahead in a world driven by technology is key. At Wisdom Integrators, we don't just solve problems, we create opportunities. Wisdom Integrators, connecting your world, solving your problems.
I think that just being able to communicate, because communication's one of my good ones too, is being able, hey, what's in it for them? Because that's what everybody is walking around with this sign, that's like, what's in it for me? Like, why would I do this? What is it worth the effort? Is it worth the time to come to BNI? Is it worth the investment? And I know that with the right attitude and the right skill set, and as long as people do not walk in super selfish, as long as they're here to help serve others, I mean, that's what BNI is founded on.
Yeah.
And so if they can walk into that, like I've just seen too many success stories to know that, it doesn't work. I know it works. So if you can just help people see that, but not everybody will, and that's okay.
Yeah.
We can't do a thing about that either. So
Right, exactly. So we've both seen when everyone's rowing together that growth happens. But even when a few people stop paddling, it can slow down the whole group. What's one thing
mm,
members can do to help their chapters thrive?
I think keeping BNI on their schedule, because I feel like it's very easy, especially if you're busy and have a busy work week, that this is very easy to get smushed out. That's why my CEU numbers aren't fabulous. Even though, I listen to this podcast, this is my favorite place to get CEUs. And because you learn so much about, other people in your chapter, all these other people that are interviewing with you. And like that taps into the things that I really enjoy about people and the being individual in the first place. So I think that as long as people are keeping it on their schedule, then it's top of mind and then everything works as it should.
Yeah, I have to make it a routine for myself to work. I'm reading Atomic Habits, and you have
Mm,
to make it easy for yourself to do the thing or you won't.
right.
So if that means you just slot, something on your calendar every week that this is my, BNI day, my BNI one-to-one spot, my whatever, my time to go look for visitors, if it's on my calendar, I will do it. If it's
Mhm.
not on my calendar, I will not do it. And if it doesn't make it to my calendar, we're in trouble.
Right, right.
So, how do you see Clifton's strengths helping a BNI chapter understand who's in the room and why that matters for building trust and results?
I think that it's not always obvious what motivates people to do what they do. And when you have that information, because we had even had we had some challenges and some different roles, and it was just so confusing to me why it was happening until I saw some of the reports that people had done for that. I'm like, okay, this makes sense. These things are really strong in this person, but not sometimes the skill set that you need to completely get through, the job. So I think that was super helpful.
Yeah, so we did I kind of alluded to it is because a lot of my chapter members have been on the podcast or they've just hired me for coaching. I have assessments that we showed earlier for a lot of more than half of the chapter. So it's really it's a low cost investment to be able to see. I'll put it to you this way. I spend as much time doing BNI as sometimes I do in my business, which is a lot on both. So if you're going to spend time, if you really want your business to grow, you're in BNI, right? So that's why we all came to BNI with the expectation we would get more business. And if you really want your support system to thrive, that provides you the opportunity to grow your business because we've all been to a chapter where maybe their numbers weren't so great, or
Mhm.
maybe they didn't follow the process maybe exactly as they should or could or want to. But when it hits on all the cylinders, then suddenly now you're getting more business. And to me, why I became a CliftonStrengths coach in the first place was it's one more layer of knowledge that helps us be better. So I said we had our title attorney on last week's episode, and his strengths are polar opposite of mine. So if I'm trying to build a team, I'm going to come to him because I don't woo is not my thing. I have high influence, but winning others over is a whole different level of influence. And harmony, your harmony and my harmony are both closer to the bottom. Doesn't mean we don't care. Or doesn't mean we don't want harmony. It just means that's not the first thing we're going to. So
Right.
we would seek out those. There are people in our chapter that have a harmony as a high number. So we look for those people because when you're moving things around, harmony kind of gets disturbed. So it's kind of fun to have that inside knowledge of people
Right.
to, whether it's in your chapter or your business, just me in general. I just like knowing about myself. I like to take all those assessments because I'm like, oh yeah, okay, now how do I use this? What am I going
Mhm.
to do? And you are somebody who naturally notices unique differences and motivations in people. If you could give chapter leaders one piece of advice about using those insights to grow their group, what would it be?
Well, it'll save them a ton of time and heartache. Not like if you are not sure who is good at what, in a snapshot glance, you can see it. You don't have to figure it out. You don't have to know them super well. You don't have to, there might be someone brand new in your chapter if you have that set of information, like you'll be like, oh, okay, they're going to be good at this, they're going to be good at that. And maybe it's more natural for me to pick up on those things, but there are people that help you interpret the reports. Tammy, that's what she does, helps you interpret, oh, well, this might be better here, or this might be better there. So it just makes everything flow more naturally, and it just saves so much time and headache.
Yes. Well, and you don't have to have the assessment. It's certainly nice information to have, but I think you alluded again earlier to we last year we didn't have that information when we first started, so we kind of just asked. Strange.
Yeah.
We took the opportunity. I created four different buckets of people or four different buckets of things you could do, and in the vein of growth, and then said who wants to do which team, and everybody was like, ironically, it evenly balanced itself out. Everybody that volunteered, there were 20 or some people in the chapter, and there were 4 or 5 people in every one. And those people then worked together in what they wanted to do, which was build something to grow, in their own way. So it wasn't like, okay, you have to do this. And you're like, oh, that sounds horrible. It was like, ooh, this is fun. Let's
Mhm.
get together and make this happen. And people were actually excited.
It makes people happier. Like I said before, this is a volunteer organization. You want people that are wanting to do what we need help with. So
Yes,
it's just,
yes, yes,
it's
yes.
so,
Work in their lane that they love.
yeah.
All right. So I am gonna roll over to the quick fire round, the clean and clear round for you. So just some fun, quick answers to questions that I tailor to you. So, what is one ingredient you'll never touch again?
Never. Soy is so bad. If you get it, there are some situations where it's okay, but almost all the soy that's out on the market, horrible. It mimics estrogen. It's genetically modified. I mean, even organic soy mimics estrogen in certain situations. So it's just, but there's some very rarely you can do like some things. So that's it.
Yeah. Everything in moderation, but not that.
Yeah. No. I'm a Nazi when it comes to that. Not
Yes.
even in my house, especially soybean oil. That's probably one thing I would never touch again.
Okay. Awesome. Coffee or tea, and how do you take it?
I guess I probably prefer tea because I only do coffee. I used to be heavily dependent on coffee, but more tea now. And I drink fizz sticks, so they're a little healthy energy drinks. So
Yes, yes, and so do I. Well, I'll say, and this is supposed to be quick fire, but I'm going to stop and say that I don't like drinking plain water. And I should say, I didn't like drinking plain water. And I always use the aspartame sticks, let's just call them those, because they had flavor. They were flavored. They're the packets that you buy everywhere and you pour into your water, and they make them taste better, but they have aspartame and various other bad supplement of sugar kind of situations in them. And I was addicted to them. And because I wanted to drink water, I got off soda. So it's a level thing, right? I was drinking soda, and so I at least got myself off soda by having that. But then the next level was when I went through Tiffany's cleanse, is I couldn't have those because the aspartame is bad for you. And after the cleanse was over, I tried one and it was horrible. Because when you get all the junk out of your body, your tastes change, and you can enjoy foods that you weren't able to taste in ways that you would if you weren't otherwise altered. And the other thing was when I tasted it, it tasted like chemicals, and it was
because it
so
is,
yeah, it was so
it
strange, but I
is.
didn't taste that before,
Yeah,
so it's just a weird thing. I was thinking about that when I, was kind of prepping and I meant to
that's
ask for any.
probably another one that I would never touch again. Aspartame,
Yeah,
artificial sweeteners. Nope.
yep, bad. Alright, the third one is, what's your favorite healthy swap that people are shocked actually tastes good?
Maybe let's see, almond butter. I feel like tastes good. I think quinoa tastes good. A lot of people don't know about quinoa. Um, if they're coming away from unhealthy grains, you know, just a lot of our recipe. I feel like everything really tastes good once your palate starts detoxing, like you were talking about. Like even like broccoli, you're like, whoa, this tastes amazing. So,
Cassava flour was a big
oh
one
yes,
that I was like, "Wait, you can have chips and, the cookies and stuff that are not nearly as treated as other things." Cassava flour was one people can
yeah.
make. Um, you can only keep 3 things in your pantry. What are they?
Mm, organic chicken sausages in my pantry or in my refrigerator.
Well, I wrote it as your pantry, but
Okay. Well, I love like the little organic chicken sausages because they're a quick hit if I need some protein. Um, avocados and maybe the cassava chips. I try not to get too carried away with them, but sometimes I just want something a little, and I try not to do like a lot of processed stuff, but if you need a chip, it's a better chip. So,
yeah,
yeah,
I try not to eat those either, but they're good. And like the crackers that are, I can never remember the name of them. I said it to you last time I saw you about crackers, but there's a good cracker that
the
is not.
almond flour crackers are
Yes,
so,
almond flour
yeah.
crackers are
Hmm.
good. There's a different one that tastes really good that I'm addicted to, so I can't have them in my house because I eat too many. But but if I'm
So good.
out and I see them, I might. All right, what's one food you thought was healthy but turned out to be sneaky?
I feel like people think soy is healthy, soy milk, soy this, soy that, and it's just not. It's just because of the way that they're growing it. It's one of the government subsidized crops, and so they overproduce it. It's in everything. It affects all sorts of our. They're feeding it to the livestock. They're feeding it to us. Yeah, not good.
Well, tomatoes was for me like actually
Nightshade.
grow tomatoes, but I didn't realize till we went, and that was one of the things when we went shopping, how nasty tomatoes actually are. There was one I was talking about the other day to somebody, peanuts.
Yeah,
Peanuts peanuts are not good for you. And again, you can do your own research, but peanuts have a whole lot of not so great things. Because I actually my I was sitting getting my hair done, and my the lady who does my hair, she's diabetic, so we were talking about food and all the things. She also has we both have health things, so we talk about those things. And she's like, yeah, I eat a lot of peanut butter. I'm like, ooh, yeah. Peanut
it's
butter.
a high. It's a
Yeah,
high allergen because it's a legume and they have lots of little micro molds that grow in them because they're an underground crop. So it
yeah.
could be causing people problems and they just don't even know.
Yes.
So
Yes, yes, yes. All right. If you could design a billboard that says one thing about clean eating, what would it say?
it's easier than you think.
Okay. What's your go-to reset when life feels out of balance? Something simple that instantly helps you feel grounded again.
Cutting out gluten. Because if it sneaks back in and, like, I'm just not feeling great, I'll wait. Like, it gives me brain fog too. Like, if I eat a bunch of like, we were at a wedding this weekend and I had cake and, it can the next day, I get such bad brain fog, can't stand it. So,
Yeah, and I feel it in my joints also when I overeat that kind of stuff. That hits my that kind of stuff. What's something that never fails to make you laugh even on a hard day?
my husband, he's so
Oh.
cute. He's really funny.
Yeah, nice. And finish this sentence. Success to me tastes like.
Tastes like freedom, I think, when you have time freedom. I think that's one thing that really attracted me to Arbonne as a business is the ability to duplicate it. It definitely like the American dream, people can make a ton of money. It doesn't mean that they have their time. So this is I feel like time,
Yeah,
freedom. Yeah.
yeah, that's awesome. And the older we get, the more that matters, right? It seems like every year I was I read something or heard something, I can't remember. I was listening to something, doesn't really matter, about time and how fast time seems to go. The older you get, the faster it seems to go. And it's a brain thing, because we do the same things, you know, over and over every week, every day. We all have routines, and you drive the same way to go to the same place all the time and that's why things go faster, because you're not even thinking, right? You're not engaged in it anymore because it's just rote. We just do it. So one way to slow down time is to do something different. You know, create new habits, take a different road to wherever the place you go to all the time is, and, create new pathways so that you're growing and, slowing time down just a little bit. So there's that. Well, Tiffany, thank you for reminding us that wellness isn't just about what we eat. It's about how we live, connect, and support one another. You've shown us how strengths, health, and community go hand in hand. It was just such a pleasure to have you here today.
It was such a pleasure to be here. She actually had to talk me into doing this too, because I was like, no, I don't want to do it. So thank you for talking me into it.
Of course. Yes. It's a common reaction. Everybody gets nervous. It's kind of like, I was a portrait photographer for a very long time. And people don't want to have that experience until they have that experience with me. And then, they feel better about that afterwards because it's not as stressful as you might think. So I appreciate that. All right. And to our listeners, if you want to experience what it's like to build your business and your body the healthy way, connect with Tiffany, or better yet, come visit our chapter if you're local and see all these things in action that we talked about. And if you're ready to learn how your own strengths can power your business growth or your chapter growth, head to theperfect100.com or tammyzurak.com to get more details on building your strengths. And I have to ask, I looked yesterday on the subscribers. I was at 97, and this is called the Perfect 100, trying to get to 100. So 3 of you that are listening that have not subscribed, more would be even great. I appreciate that so much more. Please go and subscribe. That would help me. Thank you. Bye, everybody. Thanks for listening to The Perfect 100. If today's episode sparked a new idea or inspired you to show up differently in your chapter, share it with your team, and be sure to subscribe so you never miss a conversation. And if you're curious about your own Clifton strengths and how to bring out the best in yourself or your chapter or your business, head to tammyzurak.com to learn more about building your superpowers into everything you do. Keep showing up, keep connecting, and keep building your Perfect 100.